right, so the first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna make a Saturday white bread. If you have a scale, you can use a scale. Put the bowl on, turn it on. Make sure the units are set for grams. And the first thing we're gonna do is add 1,000 grams of flour. So now that it's at 0, I'm just gonna add flour until I get to 1,000 grams. So 1,000 grams is about 7¼ cups. I overshot it by a little bit. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add about 3¼ cups of water at about 90 to 95 degrees, which is gonna feel like warm bath water, not hot, but warm. If you were making a bath, you'd probably want it a little bit hotter so than it feels. So it's more like lukewarm. And I'm gonna reset my scale because what's actually calls for is 720 grams of water. So I'm just gonna add it until it gets up to 720. So now we're gonna mix just the water and the flour. So it's 1,000 grams of flour, 700 grams of water until it's incorporated. That is about 7¼ cups flour, 3⅛ cups water if you don't have a scale. After we mix it together so it's incorporated, we're gonna cover it and let it rest for about 20 to 30 minutes. So this is not kneading, it's just mixing until the flour and the water come together. And that's it. Ready? Okay, here we go. So it's been about 20 to 30 minutes. We're gonna add a teaspoon to sprinkle it on top of yeast. We're gonna add a teaspoon and a tablespoon of salt. So 1 teaspoon and 1 tablespoon of salt. This recipe makes enough for 2 loaves. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna use the pincher method. So I just washed my hands, but we're gonna come in here, we're gonna pinch that together to shape it. So we're coming in here, we're just pinching over and over again. Okay, so it's been about 10 minutes. We're gonna give this a fold. So to get it out, because it's pretty sticky, you can use this. And what we're gonna do is just fold it in half. So I'm just giving it a fold. And then we're gonna do that again in about 1 more hour. We'll give it 1 more fold. Let's put that back on. So that timer for an hour, right? Okay. So now we're gonna take our dough, pour it onto the counter, scraping tool. Makes it a lot easier for cleanup. There we go. We're gonna put this into 2 different loaves. Cut it right down the middle. Working with one, we're gonna roll it around. And you can use just a regular bowl. These are actual bread proofing bowls. Not anything that special. There's one. There's 2. We're going to cover them for about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes with a cloth before we deal with those. So we're going to put this in this Dutch oven in at 475. Go ahead and open it up. So this is really hot all the way down. I'm actually going to change the rack because this is larger. I'm going to move this rack down to the bottom rack. So now when I put it in, We're gonna keep that preheat for about 30 minutes before we add the bread. So make sure you have hot pads. And this is something that should be done by a parent. You can see the color change on that pot because it's so hot. You're gonna take your proofed bread and you're gonna put it in there. You don't need to do anything else. Straight in there. Cover it, put it in at 475 for half an hour. And then we'll take the lid off and look at it. So 30-minute timer. All right, so it's been 30 minutes. Remember, this is very hot, so you gotta be very careful. Should have 2 pads. So this is what the bread looks like now. Now at this point, we're gonna put it back in for up to 20 minutes, but really, I've never put it in that long. You wanna keep an eye on it.